welcome to America Current Affairs. Today, we're going to look past the usual headlines and dig into a really deep crisis happening in Venezuela. And we're not going to start with boring politics or a bunch of numbers, no. We're starting with a single story. A story about one person that honestly tells you everything you need to know about what's on the line for a whole generation. All right, so let's get right into it. To understand what's happening, we need to go somewhere specific. Picture this. We're in a place called Delta Amacuro. It's a part of Venezuela where people live in these traditional stilt houses built right over the water. And it's here that we're gonna meet a young boy. His name is Angel. So here he is. This is Angel. He's just 13 years old. And for a kid like him, a classroom, well, it isn't just a building down the road, it's an absolute lifeline. You see, in his community, the indigenous Warao people, aid groups like UNICEF are actually setting up these temporary learning spaces just to give kids like him a shot at an education. And just listen to what Angel himself says about it. He just wants to go to school, to learn the alphabet, how to add, how to multiply. It's such a simple dream, right? But it's so powerful. I mean, these are the absolute basics, the building blocks for a future that, let's be honest, most of us completely take for granted. Man, Angel's story is it's tough to hear, but it really makes you think, doesn't it? He's just one kid. So how many others are out there? How many more children just like him are hoping for that same simple chance? Okay, so let's zoom out from his story and get a look at the real scale of this thing. And when we do zoom out, the numbers, they're just staggering. Honestly, we are talking about millions upon millions of people whose lives have been completely, totally upended. Get this, in total, we're looking at almost 8 million people inside Venezuela who need humanitarian aid. Not to thrive, just to survive. That is a huge chunk of the entire country's population. And out of those 8 million people, nearly half of them are kids. We're talking almost 4 million children. 4 million kids, just like Angel, all of them needing help. In the kind of help they need, it touches every single part of life. Think about it. Millions of people don't have safe water to drink. Millions of kids need support just to be able to go to school. And then you have millions more who need protection from violence, basic healthcare, and just food. So that's the big question, right? How on earth did this happen? How did a nation that has so much potential end up in a crisis this deep? Well, it really started with a massive, long-term economic collapse. Inflation went through the roof, making the country's money, well, pretty much worthless. And that left families in a position where they just couldn't afford the most basic essentials. We're talking food, medicine, you name it. And this right here really shows you the impossible situation these families are in. Just try to wrap your head around this. The official minimum wage for an entire month's work is less than $17. But to buy a basic basket of food for your family for that same month, that'll cost you over $700. The math, it just doesn't add up. It's impossible. But even in the middle of all this struggle, there are people on the ground trying to help. There's a plan, a life-saving one. Groups like UNICEF are there with a really smart approach that's focused on the kids. They're not just handing out aid for today, they're also working on a long-term strategy to help Venezuela rebuild its own systems for the future. So here's a look at their action plan for 2026. It's super detailed. You can see exactly where the money they're asking for would go. The biggest chunk, almost 40%, is for water and sanitation. I mean, that's the most basic need. Then you've got health, nutrition, and of course, education for kids just like Angel. And these aren't just vague promises either. They've set very specific, very real goals that will absolutely change lives. They're aiming to get safe water to 1.8 million people, to get nutritional support to more than 400,000 kids, to get primary health care to over 300,000 little ones, and to get nearly 170,000 children access to education. Okay, so they have a great plan. It's solid. But there's a huge problem, a final hurdle, and it's a big one. Here's the devastating truth. Just as the needs in Venezuela are getting worse, the money to actually help is drying up. It's one thing to have a plan, right? It's another thing entirely to have the funds to actually make it happen. I mean, just look at this chart. The trend is terrifying. In 2024, they received less than half of the money they actually needed. Then, in 2025, it plummeted to less than a fifth. It's falling off a cliff. And the stakes, they couldn't possibly be higher. As UNICEF puts it, without these resources, millions of children risk irreversible harm. That's not just a setback, that's permanent damage. Which leaves us with a really, really tough question. What happens to an entire generation of kids when the world just stops paying attention?
Thanks so much for watching this explainer. If you want to stay on top of this story and other critical issues shaping our world, please do us a favor and subscribe to the channel America Current Affairs. It really helps us keep making these.